I know. Don't say anything, Chip. Don't say anything. I am working on being on time, but let me tell you, I was just making my way to the studio, to our office, and someone nicked my M&Ms.
Alright. Who was it?
I'm not too sure who it was, but he was slim and shady, that's for sure. Today's case. Now, to be perfectly honest, we got to be honest with him, Chip. We got to let him know. This isn't necessarily a mystery. Well, there is a mystery element, but this is more about the story of Lester Eubanks.
45 years ago today, prison guards took a convicted child killer out Christmas shopping for good behavior.
But he walked away. Proof.
It was 1965 when Mary Ellen Diener, a 14-year-old in Mansfield, left a laundromat to get change and encountered her killer, Lester Eubanks.
He didn't seem to show any remorse at all, other than the fact that he was caught.
The Bible says, you take a life, you give your life.
To go from death row to the shopping mall and then allow him to escape is unfathomable.
AKA Victor Young, Pete Eubanks, Lester William Eubanks, and Big Daddy.
Big Daddy was definitely, you've given him that
He
name.
looks like a Big Daddy.
He does look like a Big Daddy. Now, this person is on the top 15 US most wanted list. This is a high profile Donnie. Ooh. And when we tell you this story, guys, when I first read through it, I was in absolute disbelief. Now, this person is still on the run to this day.
That's crazy. But before we go ahead and explain the case, we must remind you all that if you, Jesus, if you want to listen to this podcast on the way to work or whatever, then you can go ahead and follow us on Spotify and Apple. And if you want to leave us a 5-star review on Apple, because this is the greatest true crime show of all time.
Of all time.
We'd love that. Anyway, back to the case. Last scene.
Yeah.
5'11", same height as you.
Cat, that's literally the same height as you.
I'm taller than you, bro. Look.
Get a load of this guy, man.
175 pounds? Probably double our weight.
No. I'm like 180 pounds. So I'm the Big Daddy here.
You are. Black hair, brown eyes. Leaning more on my side right now because you got those blue eyes. Hitler would have loved you. Large scar burned on his upper right arm, and he would now be 77.
77, you know. This guy now would be really old. Now, let me just tell you what exactly went down. So Lester Eubanks is currently wanted by the Ohio Adult Parole Authority for escape. He's escaped. And let me tell you, the crime that he committed, you'd be thinking, how in the world did this man escape? Well, it is quite astonishing, to be honest, because in December 1973, Eubanks walked away from the custody of the Ohio Department of Corrections while on, this is amazing, while on a temporary honor furlough to go Christmas shopping. You heard that absolutely right, okay? At the time of his escape, Eubanks was actually serving a life sentence, right, for the murder and attempted sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl who goes by the name Mary Ellen Diener, okay? Eubanks had previously been sentenced with the death penalty, but what happened was he kept mysteriously managing to have his death penalty pushed back and back and back, and then it got so far back to the point where they actually abolished the death penalty, so instead they just changed it to a life sentence.
My man was gaming the system.
He
managed to go Christmas shopping. They've looked at him and gone, you're right, you know what, fella? Head over to Macy's now and go treat the missus.
Mate, we're literally talking about a child murderer went Christmas shopping without any guards.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
He's in there having all the seasonal little bites that they hand out.
Yeah.
Little picking blanket. Yeah, I'll take that.
But this is a child murderer. Someone that should have never, ever left the prison walls. Yet here he is, no security guards, going Christmas shopping.
Okay. Let's talk about the actual murder.
The reason why he was supposed to be behind bars.
The reason why he was initially in jail. Now, he was serving time for the murder of Mary Ellen Diener. Now, it all went down on November 14th, 1965. Mary and her younger sister were doing laundry at the laundromat, but had ran out of change. So they decided to go to another laundromat to get change. I guess that laundromat had more change.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was found dead nearby, shot twice and beaten with a brick. Now, he was arrested for the murder, and he also confessed that he actually tried to sexually assault her, and when she obviously denied him, he killed her. Get where I'm going?
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I completely understand what happened here, but I have to ask, why has he confessed to that? Surely you figured you'd maybe get away with a lighter sentence if you didn't confess to it.
Well, I guess they'd obviously pinned him down pretty solidly because when they found her body, they determined the caliber of the gun that she was shot with, and then they started going to hardware stores to obviously find out, who sold the gun, if it had been registered to a certain person.
So it was already pretty nailed on. It was obvious that it was him that did this. He wasn't getting out of it.
Yes, and when they were looking at the books in those hardware stores, they found the weapon with the right description, purchased by a Mr. Lester Eubanks. Boom. So they got him.
This wasn't actually the first time that he'd been arrested. He'd actually been arrested twice beforehand for past sex offenses, right? He was out on bond for sexual assault attempt already at the time of the offense when he did this. So this guy wasn't just like, oh, this is completely out of nowhere. This guy had a track record for it already, and he was out on bond. So that's a bit of a red flag, and I'm not too sure how they've allowed this to happen. I mean, this entire story is just makes the police look so terrible, because you guys will be in disbelief as you hear about the stuff that goes on throughout this. And yeah, he got caught anyways, and he ended up going and confessing in detail about how the whole thing went down. And this is the story of the murder. So he says, right, he was in the area and he grabs her and pulls her behind the house. When she screams, he shoots her twice, and then he went around the corner to his apartment, got changed to go dancing. That's how tapped this guy is. He's just shot a girl twice and thought,
remorse.
I'm gonna go out
Straight to dancing. Was it ballroom dancing?
I don't know, but just before he went and did that, he got changed, obviously, and then on his way to head downtown to go dancing, he went to the scene. And when he got there, he saw that she was actually still alive. So this girl potentially could have been helped. She was shot twice, but she was still alive, right? But what did this twisted man do? He actually took a brick and hit her with it to ensure that she had actually died. How grim is that?
That's not right. Off the back of everything, he's obviously gone and got himself the death penalty. When he's in prison, his inmates didn't like him. For some reason, he was allowed to draw, he was allowed to paintbrushes, canvases. Sounds like he was treated pretty well in prison by the higher ups, or whoever's taking care of him.
Look, they considered him, in quotes, an honor inmate. And by that,
whatever that means.
Look, he was buddy-buddy with the guards.
Well, I mean,
there.
they were letting him go Christmas shopping, so I think that just says it all. Anyway, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, his executions kept getting pushed back for unknown reasons.
Sus that.
Like we've already said, the death penalty did end up getting abolished. So they changed his sentence to just life in prison.
Yeah, it's pretty clear here, and it says that his death penalty kept getting pushed back. His execution day kept getting pushed back, and there's no reason for it in it. So has he literally just been somehow just like getting on the guards' good side to the point where they can move the execution
slipping him
date?
a little bit of cash, maybe?
I don't know. It just do guards even have the power to do that?
I don't think so.
It's just really weird how he became so close to the guards and also managed to have that just keep getting pushed back to the point where he got obviously very lucky, and he didn't have to serve that death penalty. Instead, it was changed to a life sentence. But now we get to the really weird part, and the part that just makes you go, what the hell were they thinking? Because he was so buddy-buddy with these guards, he was considered an honor inmate. And that meant that he earned the privilege of a Christmas shopping trip to the Great Southern Shopping Center in Columbus.
That's the first time I've ever heard of inmates being allowed to just go out and do a little bit of Christmas shopping. Where are they getting this money from, and what are they going to buy, and where are they taking it?
Oh, I've got some. Yeah, who are you buying these presents for? Is there a secret Santa going on in the prison that we don't know about? not only that, but it's a child murderer. Okay, maybe if it's a guy that had robbed a store on the corner and took a Kit Kat without paying for it, fine, let him out Christmas shopping. But a child murderer? Really?
But then if you let that guy out for Christmas shopping, he'd probably just steal another Kit Kat.
Yeah, but he's not a child murderer, Jit.
Kit Kat thief, though. December 7th, the group of inmates has been allowed to go shopping by themselves.
Right.
The rest of the inmates have returned to the agreed pickup location. They're going to go back to prison, whatever. They're being good inmates. Yeah. However, Eubanks has just disappeared, and he's nowhere to be seen. Gone.
It's almost like letting inmates go out Christmas shopping without security guards is a bad idea, Chip.
So obviously they've gone ahead and taken a look at the prison visitation list. And there were people who were consistently visiting him once a month, and that changed from once a month to once a week. So off the back of this, they've gone, right, this might have been pre-planned, an escape possibly. They're thinking maybe a family member has been coming in, they're talking about it. Next thing's led to another, and the Donnie's gone.
Yeah, they wanted to actually ask the family, but obviously the family said, we're not giving you any information. We don't know anything. Just completely denied it. As they were almost obviously going to do, right?
Yeah, shady.
The local county sheriff's office then decided to put out a local warrant in the system. So anytime, if you got picked up, they would be like, right, there's a warrant for your arrest. We need to bring you in. The FBI did the same thing. So it's at the point where it's nationwide. If this guy gets caught for doing anything, they have a warrant for his arrest. They know to bring him in. Now, over the next 20 years, there were so many manhunts, but no leads pointed to his whereabouts. This guy had successfully managed to evade the FBI, the police, for 20 years, all from escaping that shopping trip.
Magician.
It honestly does seem like that.
He just went ghost on him, man.
He did.
Maybe he was it sounds like he might have had a couple of connections.
He definitely had people helping him in this escape, for sure.
Criminal connections, whatever. Kind of people that can make you disappear. New passport, new this, new that. Yeah. Fake social security numbers, all this kind of stuff. And he's gone.
December 1993, 20 years later. At this point, Eubanks is now 50 years old. And a detective bureau commander checked in the computer to see his profile and discovered that there were no warrants to be found. Yeah, so someone's gone in there and deleted the warrants that were out for his arrest. So in the time, people don't know when that was deleted from the database, but if someone had picked him up, a traffic stop, anything, they run his name, no warrant would have popped up for him. So originally, they came up with the idea, they'll put out this warrant, and that should have just been there forever until this guy was caught. But then this detective has gone, looked for it, and it's completely gone. Is there some sort of inside job going on here?
Yeah,
First of all,
is there a mole?
Is there a mole? His executions kept getting pushed back. He somehow, a child murderer, somehow became an honorable inmate to the point where he could go on a Christmas shopping trip. He then clearly has help with his escape. It's not like he just kept running, he didn't just run. There was something planned going on here. And then finally, they look for his warrant 20 years later and it's not there. How long has this guy been going undetected?
Sounds like that he definitely has a friend in a place of some reasonable power. But I mean, to get a warrant removed and that kind of stuff, it's got to be like some, this ain't just having a friend who's a police officer. This sounds
this is deeper than that, surely.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be someone high up.
Maybe he's got blackmail on someone high up. Who knows?
Yeah.
So what they decided to do after that, the detective then took it in his own hands and he said, right, okay, now we're taking it a step further. TV has become a big thing, and they have that TV show where it's called like America's Most Wanted, and they essentially just go through all the people,
all the crimes, and who they are,
talk about them, and show their picture, really just to get awareness about him and what he looks like. And so, if anyone in the country sees this man, let us know.
Yeah.
And that was the approach they took.
After the show, somebody actually called up and claimed that they did know him and that they used to run around with him in the 70s in LA. And he ended up living with someone called Kay Banks, which was his cousin's widow. Now, detectives obviously went straight to Kay Banks, straight to see her, and she was scared that she would be in trouble for harboring a fugitive. She's cooperated with the police, the detectives, she's told them a bunch of stuff, Now, Kay Banks was actually intimidated by him, scared of him, and she lied to him. She said that she had the FBI asking about him to him.
Yeah.
He's got scared about that whole situation.
Spooked.
It's freaked him out. It's got spooked, and he's left.
Okay, he's gone. Now, an interesting little fact here is that law enforcement actually pulled over a bus, and he thought, right, he's on this bus, and he thinks, right, it's the end. The police have pulled over the bus. They know that it's me. I'm finished.
Yep.
Nope. The police were actually just there to check if there was any illegal fruit on the bus.
Ooh.
He must have been laughing when
baby.
they came on and they went, right, sorry, we're just here to check if there's any fruit. Hold on, there's just a child murderer right in front of you who has a warrant out for his arrest, and you guys have just completely missed it.
Saved by the acid-laced grapes.
Anyways, look, in 1996, the police pretty much gave up on finding him. Look, how many more resources were they going to put towards a man who'd already evaded them for 20 odd years?
He was a ghost.
Honestly, this guy had just, in a weird way, he'd smashed it, right?
Yeah.
Like he'd managed to get away, and he'd done it successfully.
5-star wanted level, and they ain't getting it.
And they still didn't get him. In 2003, they reopened the case, or looked at it again, I should say, and they started asking questions about Mose Eubanks, who was his father, and started asking him some questions about where his whereabouts might be, and I'll quote what his dad said. He said, "People change and go on and start new lives, and I pray for Lester every day, and that's all I'm going to say about Lester."
Dodgy.
Mate, your son killed a child, okay? If you have any decency...
No, Mose said people change, man.
Bro, he's a dad. It's so annoying. Anyways, the dad quite clearly knows more than what he's letting on to. And an informant told him that she had actually been out to Mose's house in the summer. When the phone rang, he explained that the other person on the phone was in fact Lester. So that's how we know that the dad definitely knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah,
because
he
someone's
just doesn't,
come and said,
he
"Yo,
doesn't want to
Lester."
dob in his son, even though his son's an absolute maniac and a child murderer. He doesn't want to dob him in.
Yeah, and what the police did after that was they subpoenaed Moses' phone calls, and they found someone of Lester's height, age, and description working at a center for troubled youth. The irony in that is just astounding. And he didn't have a driving license, and the security number that was associated with his job there kept coming back, and it was just a false number. He'd given him a BS social security number, because obviously the guy's on the run. He's not going to just give over all his details, right? And unfortunately for them, that person had left 2 months prior to the police actually catching on. So he was always just one step ahead.
One step ahead, man. He knew the game. He was playing the game.
People have said that this is the biggest miscarriage of justice that they've ever seen, and that these type of cases that are alleged to be the uncatchables, and in order to make that uncatchables list, you really have to be the worst of the worst. The U.S. Marshals even came forward and said, look, we'll give $25, probably not quite enough, but $25,000 to anybody that can give information on the identity, not even the identity, on the whereabouts of Lester Eubanks. But still, to this day, they haven't found him.
Yep.
Even, obviously, the sister of the victim, Mary, she's still out there, and she's been quoted saying, "He took my sister's life. She didn't get an extension. Her life is over." And the law said that that's what should happen to him, living but still not free. Because he was obviously supposed to have a life sentence, but he's got out on a Christmas shopping trip. I can only imagine what Mary's sister and Mary's family feel. Like, how have they said you can go Christmas shopping with no guards? It's insane. But Lester Eubanks has evaded the police. He has his 5-star wanted. He's 15 in the top 15 of the most wanted, and they still haven't found him. And that is the story of Lester Eubanks.
Damn.
Mental. That's such a crazy, and I think the quote where they say this is the biggest miscarriage of justice that I've ever seen, this is honestly one of the biggest fumbles ever, bro.
Well, I mean, Christmas shopping, I can't really wrap my head around the Christmas shopping.
It's so crazy. And you guys, we want to know what you think about Lester Eubanks. What do you think about this whole thing? Is there something missing here? Should we be a little bit more lenient and understand that everybody needs to go Christmas shopping? You guys let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
What else do they need to do, Chip?
Well, you need to go ahead over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hit follow on there. And of course, if you want to leave us a 5-star review, that would be lovely. You can listen to this podcast now on your way to work, wherever you are, in the bath maybe, you know?
Bro, wherever.
Little bubble bath, you know?
Ooh.
Maybe you're opening your Christmas presents.
Maybe you're thinking about going Christmas shopping.
Hopefully Lester didn't buy them you.
Thank you for that, Chip. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you all on the next episode of The Fellas Mysteries. I'm not too sure who it was, but he was slim and shady, that's for sure. Anyways, what we got today?
Who the fuck? What the fuck does that?
Slim Shady.
Oh.
Fuck me.